So now let's talk a little bit about Boolean expressions. What is a Boolean expression? Well, it is an expression is anything with um, operators such as greater than, less than, plus, minus, division than, things like that. However, with a Boolean expression, which can only be true and false, it means just that. It will be a true expression or it will be a false expression. For these types of expressions, there are two types. There are relational expressions and logical expressions. For a relational expression, they would deal with things like greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Let's look at my functions I've made. I have a Boolean function which returns true or false based on the number that's passed in. I have an integer n that's passed in, and it compares to the class samples num, which in this case is 33. So if n is less than num, or if num is greater than n, then it returns true. If they're equal, or if it's false, then it returns false. We also have a Boolean function called less, which returns true if num is less than the number passed in, and it returns false if it is equal to or greater than. And we also have a Boolean function called equal, which compares the two numbers n and num. If they're equal to each other, so if n is 33, then it returns true. Otherwise, it's false. As I said, you can have greater than, less than, equal, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. If you want to have a greater than or equal to expression, you just put an equal sign right after the greater than sign. If you want to have less than expression, then you just have an equal after the less than sign. And that will allow those cases for when they are equal to, if num and n were equal. However, for my function, I do not want that, so I remove them. So now let's look at my what if our output would be. I have three system.print lines, which will yield true if the function would return true, and it will return false if the function returns false. It will then print each of the functions and the words true or false. Boolean expressions can be printed out in a string based on their value. So if it's true, it'll print the word true, and if it's false, it'll print the word false. Also, now let's talk about logical expressions. There are three types of logical expressions. There's and, or, and not. With and expressions, all the expressions that are anded together must be true. With or expressions, any of them, if one of them is true, then the whole logical expression is considered to be true. If all of them are false, then it is false. So, I have a couple examples. For the first one, since s is equal to 50, 50 is greater than 33, so that'll return false. And s equal is also false since e is not equal to 33. Actually, it is equal to 33, so this whole expression will return true. Even though the first one's false, the second one is true, so that expression will return true. S dot less, this will show that num is less than 50, so it'll be true. However, they're both still true. So, this whole expression will be true. For number 3, though, the first expression is false, and the second expression is false. And then that is how we know that the whole expression will be false. Now notice these bar signs. That is how you tell the computer that you want to OR these Boolean expressions together. This is what allows for an OR expression to be available. You can have as many expressions as you want, not only 2, but you must have an OR symbol in between each of them. To do that, you just shift the backspace key on most keyboards. Now for AND expressions, you denote them by the double AND sign on the keyboard, which is above the number 7. So Shift 7 will give you that. In order for an AND expression to be true, both or all of them must be true. In this case, it's both because I only have 2. So for AND 1, that'll be false because it's true and false. For the second one, it'll be just false. For the third one, they're both true, so that will be true. Now let's talk about not. What not does is it reverses the Boolean expression. So if I have not false, it returns true. If I have not true, it returns false. It always takes the opposite of what it is. So now let's just run this little sample. And as you can see, everything I said will happen. The first two ands were false, the third one was true, the first two ors were true, and the last one was false. Greater was false, less was true, and equal was true. Not returned true when it nodded the false, and the second one returned false when I nodded the true. And that's it.